So if you're one of the 20 or so people who have been clicking on my videos, first of all, thank you. And I mean that, I really appreciate it. Secondly, this video is for you. It's definitely not for someone who actually wants a review of the movie Ambulance. So this is the first video that I've ever done without a script, or at least without some kind of notes. Everything I've made so far, I've tried to prepare ahead of time so that it wouldn't come across basically the way this video ended up. It doesn't make any sense, and everything's out of order, and it's kind of funny. And like, I've always known I've had ADHD. I mean, I've always had ADHD. As the people who also have ADHD know, it's like literally a nightmare all day, every day. But I've never seen it like visually, and just watching myself talk, just with absolutely no structure or no plan whatsoever, I realized it's pretty funny. So I figured I would just release this video, and I don't know what I'm gonna call it, probably like ADHD fail or something, I don't know, something like that. But I will be writing a script for and recording an actual review for the movie Ambulance, because I like the movie, and I do want to review movies because that actually was really fun, and I love movies. Anyways, if you want to watch me ramble and like make no sense, then this is for you. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, I'm Connor. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. If you're new here, then blah 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 blah. You know the drill. Well, actually, this is my first movie review, so if you like this, then actually please do let me know. So if you saw the title of this video, you might be thinking a Michael Bay popcorn movie, as opposed to what? A round circle? Wet water? A long Lord of the Rings movie? A racist critical drinker review? I know, the only kind of movies that Michael Bay makes are popcorn movies. First of all, I want to say I like the movie. It's a good movie. I recommend watching it, and this is going to be a positive review. But I actually sort of think of popcorn movies as like a different category than I think most people, because I'm unique and special. No, but I actually think of them as like, big movies are different than popcorn movies. Even though a popcorn movie is technically like, yeah, without serious dramatic content, a weighty message, or intellectual depth, serves simply as enjoyable entertainment. But I like to think of big movies as like their own category. So like Star Wars, even though technically it's a popcorn movie, I like to think of it as like a big movie. It's not just a popcorn movie. Or like Spider-Man No Way Home is a big movie, you know what I mean? I guess it goes by budget for me. I think of like smaller budget movies that are still just general entertainment, just general, action, fun movies. If it's a lower budget, then I think of that as a popcorn movie. And Ambulance was only a $40 million budget, which is, pretty low. I say low, like that's not a crazy amount of money, but you know what I mean? To me, a popcorn movie is like Taken, or the Bourne series, or, Olympus Has Fallen, the smaller action movies that are still really fun. And Ambulance is definitely one of those. So in case you don't know, it's about these two adopted brothers, Danny and Will. Danny is played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and Will is played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. They rob a bank, but then the heist goes wrong, so they end up having to hijack an ambulance from these two EMTs. And so the whole movie is the two brothers trying to evade the police while also keeping that cop in the ambulance alive. So it's really intense, actually. So I'll start with the acting. It's great. Jake Gyllenhaal does great. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II also does great. And Eliza Gonzalez here, she's the woman who played, I've never heard of this person. She probably has been in so many things I've never seen, but she plays one of the EMTs. The second EMT he's not really part of the story. But she plays the EMT basically. And she really stands out in this movie. She does an amazing job. The rest of the acting is fine. There aren't really any other big characters, I guess, I can think of. There is this one character, it's like this FBI, expert, detective, analyst guy. And you'll know him when you see him. He shows up partway through the movie. He's supposed to be like the guy who's gonna, crack the case or, catch them. And that actor, I don't know who he is. He didn't really sell it for me. But other than that, the acting is great. The story is, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. Not really much to the story, honestly. You're not seeing this to experience every single emotion. You know what I mean? It's just supposed to be fun, and it is. And then the action. So the action is very intense. So I want to talk a little bit about the production of this movie, because I think it's interesting and pretty cool. To make the film feel authentic, the cast was allowed to improvise some of their lines. There were definitely some scenes where I'm pretty sure that's what was happening, which I liked a lot. And then the production also hired real trauma surgeons, firefighters, SWAT teams, snipers, and 52 LAPD officers for the shoot. On the first day of filming, while shooting footage of the ambulance driving on a freeway, Bay noticed several patrol officers and 3 motorcycle cops. He asked them if they wanted to star, to which they agreed, and he used the opportunity to sweet-talk the officers into creating a rolling roadblock, allowing them to close the freeway for free instead of paying the average $350,000 to $400,000 cost, which is so cool. The helicopter chase sequence in the LA River was not in the script. Bay came up with the idea after 2 helicopters became available for use. I also love how Michael Bay takes the opportunity to sell himself, like instead of the movie or in addition to selling the movie, he's also just selling his own ego, which is hilarious. Elaborating on the film process, he said they shot 90 to 120 shots a day. That's a lot of shots. Most movies are 20 to 30 shots a day. But you know, I was there with the camera. I'm a director who doesn't have a video village. I don't have a director's chair. I don't have a trailer. I'm right there with the actors and we work fast. And it's like, I just find that funny. The reason I wanted to include this in my review is because I actually had read this before seeing the movie, and so I knew that some of the cops were actually real police, and so I was a little worried that it was going to turn into sort of propaganda or try and show the cops like in a good way. And it's funny because there's one cop who I am absolutely certain was one of the ones who was a real police officer, because his acting was like, and he also looked exactly like a cop. He was bald and he has, you know, tattoos on his arms. So I was a little worried about, like, you know, some sort of bias in the movie. But luckily they show the cops, I'd say, in a realistic way, which is nice. I'm not spoiling anything at all. But they definitely show the police, you know, making some really dumb mistakes, which I appreciated. Well, part of me can't help myself but bring a little bit of politics into it and think, like, why do these cops need to get paid to even do even more stuff, you know, besides for helping people? But I'm rolling my eyes at myself for thinking that. In the end, I think it was worth it because the movie was realistic and the helicopter chase scene is pretty cool. It's not, you know, legendary, but it's cool, it's fun, and they definitely do not show the cops in like a biased light, like a positive light. They don't show them in a negative light, but they don't show them. It's definitely not propaganda, so don't worry about that. So anyways, the action was great, the acting was, you know, rock solid, and the story was pretty straightforward, like I said. So there's a few things I want to say that I think would have improved the movie. Number one, right out of the gate, as you probably expected, it's a Michael Bay movie. It's way too long. It could have been at least 20 minutes shorter, if not, what is it? It says it's 136 minutes. Oh yeah, this could have easily been an hour and 40-minute movie, easily. But, you know, Michael Bay, I think his thought process is like he wants to give people their money's worth. And so he wants to, you know, just make the movie longer and longer and just keep putting in all this action, even if it feels like it's random or doesn't have anything to do with the story. I've seen this in a few different places and like different reviews that the third act, there's like this section of the third act that kind of feels out of place. Like all these different characters come out of nowhere and it's like just a separate story almost. It's not separate, but it's like new and it wasn't really set up very well, you know, beforehand. So I wouldn't say that the whole entire last 35 minutes should have been cut off, but there's definitely a good 20 to 30 minutes throughout the movie that could have been removed easily. But I appreciate that Michael Bay wants to give you your money's worth and he wants you to see as many explosions as possible, as many cop cars crashing and rolling over as possible. I love that. And the second thing is a little bit more important, I think. It would have made a bigger difference for the movie. There's the first scene of the movie, or I guess it's the second scene. And again, this is not spoiling anything. This is all information that's in the trailers. In one of the first scenes of the movie, where they're basically setting up the plot, it shows Will, which is Yahya Abdul-Mateen II's character, on the phone with like the insurance companies. So what the problem is that his wife needs like an experimental surgery. So he has to get the money for the surgery, and the insurance companies won't cover it. And it shows him on the phone, and like it keeps cutting away from him, and it shows like the papers, like the, you know, the bills, and then it cuts to his wife, and she's holding their baby, and like it shows him, but he'll be like standing far away. He's not even looking at the camera for a lot of that scene. And I think it would have made all the difference if they showed a close-up of his face where he's communicating to the audience that what his motivation is. Like if the emotion behind why he's doing what he's doing, like he's struggling, he's pissed, he's overwhelmed, he's anxious, he's stressed. Like, I need this money for my wife, you know, I need this for my family. And that's not really that difficult to communicate. You know, it's pretty straightforward acting. And that would have made the whole entire rest of the movie feel much more important. Like, the stakes were actually real. The stakes are very high, like, physically. Like, everyone's lives are at risk and they have to keep driving really quickly and they're getting chased by the cops. But there's no real emotional stakes. And that scene was obviously supposed to set up the emotional stakes, but it pretty much failed. And it would have made a huge difference if it was just a straight shot on his face. And I know that Yahya Abdul-Mateen can do that. You know, it's not that hard to communicate, you know, stress or, you know, anger, not anger, but, you know, frustration, especially because probably the most accurate part of this movie is that a United States military veteran can't afford healthcare for his family, which is just heartbreaking. And that would make the whole audience feel so much more connected to him and in his conflicts, like, you know, should I be doing this? This is wrong, but I can't get the money otherwise, you know, I need it for my family. I think it would have set up an emotional stakes for the movie perfectly if they had done that. But instead they don't really show his face. And it's funny because here I am explaining why the characters in a Michael Bay movie don't seem to have emotional stakes. I know, it's shocking. But if that scene had just that one little difference, it would have changed the entire movie. It would have improved the whole movie, and it would have felt so much more gripping. Because we would feel this character knowing he's doing something wrong, knowing that yes, he's risking his life and his physical safety, but he's also risking his future legally because he's doing something so extremely illegal. And like I said, I know the guy's a good actor. I know he could do that. I know he could handle that. I've seen him in Watchmen. I loved him in Watchmen. I think he was in Aquaman. He was the bad guy in Aquaman, and he was in some Netflix thing, like the Netflix historical legal drama, The Trial of the Chicago 7. Yeah, exactly. Oh wow, he's 35. If they had made that one little adjustment in that scene and show his face, and just show his face and show the conflict that he's going through, it would have made a huge difference in the movie, and it would have made it that much more intense. And the movie's already really intense, and it probably would have added like 10% to the freaking Rotten Tomatoes score too. I think it has like a 60% of Rotten Tomatoes, or sorry, 70%. Yeah, it has a 69% right now. Nice. And an 87% audience score. Yeah, that seems about right. So it would have easily been bumped up to an 80% if they had established that emotional foundation for the movie. Especially because it's like the first scene. It would have made, like I said, all the difference. With that said, the way I'll summarize it is, if you like going to the movies, then this is definitely for you. If you're the kind of person who you're a little more selective and you only see the things that stand out to you, like maybe the last movie you saw was Spider-Man No Way Home, I could see how you'd want to wait for this one to come out on whatever, Netflix or whatever. I definitely could see that, because it's definitely one of those movies. But if you want to go see some cool explosions and you have the time, it's definitely worth the money. Michael Bay definitely gives you your money's worth, and so I recommend it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you liked it. Like I said, this was my first movie review, so if you liked it, then seriously, please let me know. I really appreciate it. I love the movies. I watch everything. I literally watch everything. I've been going to the movies my whole life, because like I said, I'm special. I'm unique among our culture in that I go to the movies. And so if you like this, then I would love to keep doing this. And I actually probably will regardless, so whatever. Thanks for watching. See ya.